Nowadays, so like every time we have to go between something, we were, within a 20, 30 minute walk.
Okay, go ahead, David.
Welcome, everybody. This is the second part of the four-part series of QuickBooks Online. Remember, it's courtesy of the Ogunquit Chamber of Commerce and David Nosnik. I'm going to be presenting today. The second part is going to be emphasizing the artificial intelligence portion of QuickBooks Online, which in my view is what makes it really the choice when you're talking about accounting systems for the small and rapidly growing company. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence. We are going to talk about how to connect your QuickBooks Online financial institution account, checking, savings, mortgage, line of credit, directly to your financial institution, so that every night, all of the transactions that clear the bank are downloaded to your system for you to have it already posted. And we are also going to cover the second cycle in the business cycle, which is going to be the revenue cycle. Just briefly, I want to remind you that the first phase of the seminar, the first part of the seminar was 2 weeks ago, and it's been recorded. And Alice, has that been posted already or not quite?
Yep, we have the link in the member newsletter each week. So every Wednesday we have a link to the library.
Very good. And within a couple of days, I'm also going to have the links directly in the tutorial section of my website. My website, again, is nosnik.com. So we are now going to go as we did last time. Remember that one of the things in terms of the education, QuickBooks Online, excuse me, has put together a very nice collection of video tutorials. And if you're if you're working with your QuickBooks Online and you have doubts as to how to do something, whether it's posting a revenue check, expense, etc., you can always go back to their collection of videos, find the right video, and they are 2 to 3 minute videos that show you physically how to do certain things. And also remember that for all of you chamber members, we in my office are open every Friday. We have a clinic so that you can set up a time and we'll do a meeting, a Zoom meeting of 15 minutes, totally free. You have any questions, just save it for Friday. Send me an email. You can send me an email at david@nosnik.com and ask for some time. We get together and 15, 20 minutes, we review what you need. Remember, it's all via Zoom. I can see what your question is. You can show me. We can try to come up with the answer. And now, remember that for purposes of the seminar, QuickBooks Online has put together a very effective online real-time presentation, which we are going to be using. And are we sharing screen now? Okay, great. So I'm going to go, you can find also the let me see. We go to the best way to get to either the tutorials of QuickBooks Online or this online exercise real time is to go to my website, that's nosnik.com, and on the video tutorials, you can find selected videos from QuickBooks. And then here you can go to the actual collection. It's very, very complete. And each one of them has several videos. So no matter what you need, specifically getting started, account setting, etc., you can go here and go back as many times as you need it. Okay, so we go back here, and also from here, you can go to this real-time online demonstration. If you're new to QuickBooks, if you would like to just touch, feel, kick the tires, get the feeling as to what playing with QuickBooks, posting with QuickBooks Online is all about. Just again, go to my website on the tutorial, and that will take you to the test drive. Much easier than trying to go to these addresses they have. So this way, you don't get lost. You go directly to the test drive. And let me see if we're getting there. Here we are. Okay, so we land on Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. Everybody has access, and don't worry, you can play with it. The minute you get off, it's all destroyed. You go back, you start with a new one. This, when you land, remember, we saw it 2 weeks ago. This is where you land, and you can see, this is what they call the getting things done. I never use this. I always use and start with the left-hand menu. Also, QuickBooks felt that, they wanted to show two views. This is what they call the accountant's view, because it goes specifically by topic, cash flow, expenses, projects, etc. They have another one which they felt it was needed for those that are neophytes, are not accountants. And it's pretty much the same thing, except your menu is shorter, and instead of calling it expenses or revenue, is getting paid or paying or bookkeeping, etc. I like, and I think you will too, like the accountant's view better. It really is more specific, and I don't think it's that accounting language. It really is very, very easy to know this is expenses, etc. Last time we focused on expenses, both how to create vendors, how to write checks, how to set up bills, etc. We are going now to focus, as I mentioned before, we're going to be focusing on the sales cycle. We're going to see how you create clients' information, how you bill a client, the many options you have to bill, how do you post when they pay, etc., etc. But before, we're going to go to this unique aspect, which is the artificial intelligence part of QuickBooks. And it's they call it the banking. I call it the lobby, and you'll see why I call it the lobby. It's basically a banking section where you have your checking account, savings, credit card, line of credit, etc. And here, what you do is you connect them, you plug them with electronically with your financial institution, so they go straight to the bank. And then what happens every night? Automatically, you don't have to be online. This is being done, without any action from you. Automatically, the system goes theoretically up to the cloud, straight to the connection to Bank of America, Bangor Savings, whichever is your financial institution, identifies your account, pulls down, whatever transactions occur since the last time it was downloaded, and then brings it to this area, which I call the lobby. And I called it the lobby, it comes down here because it's waiting for you to take action. In other words, it's waiting for you to account for it. And we're going to spend a little time going over how you actually do the posting. But first, let me show you. You have, what we're going to do now is we're going to show how to connect electronically, what they call the link an account, okay? Remember that you have your chart of accounts, okay? This is all the accounts that have been put together in your chart of accounts, and you have your banking, savings, etc. And you can see here, they have been connected, okay? So if you want to connect any company, any account, it's going to have to, there's a requisite that the account is already in your chart of accounts. Once you have it in the chart of accounts, then you should be able to electronically connect them. And that's what you do here in the banking section. If we wanted to link another account, right? Then what we do is we go to link account. It's going to tell us, where, what bank. It is not fully functional because this is just the example, but this is where you would put, say, Bank of America. Okay. And then it would go and find the connection to the Bank of America. Then it will ask you for your specific account, your login credentials. It would identify it. It would say, okay, we've connected it. What account in your chart of accounts is connected to this account? That's when you would select the name of the chart of account. The name of the account in the chart of accounts could be Bank of America, checking one, whatever name. And once you do that, it's going to say, okay, it's connected. And then what happens, it appears here, and it's going to say your checking account, in this case, named checking, right, has been connected to your bank account. Here, it gives you the option to edit the signing information, that's your credentials. There are times, a month later, 2 months later, after 5 years, that maybe the connection gets interrupted for whatever reason. You can reinstate it right here by editing, or you can edit the account. But once you are connected, this is what it looks like. So what happens is every night, the QuickBooks is going to download these transactions. And here is the lobby. This is all the transactions waiting for you to account. And this is, in this scenario, this is where accounting happens. This is where the posting happens for those transactions that have been downloaded. And basically, you have two ways to account for transactions that have been downloaded. This is the beginning of the artificial intelligence. First, to connect to your financial institution, download, bring it to you, and it says, this is what I downloaded, okay? And you click in here, and it opens up the accounting, and it says, this is the way they came from the bank, and it would have the electronic trailing of the bank. And then it says, it was a transaction payable to Books by Bessie, okay? So it tells you here, it identifies Bessie as a vendor, so automatically says the payee was Bessie. And it says, uncategorized. It says, I don't really know where to post this transaction because probably there is no memory, there is no history, okay? If there was history or there were rules, as we're going to see further down, it would give you choices as to what category, which is an account, to put it in. And then you have three choices. You can say, okay, we can leave it the way it is. Yep, I think everything is fine, which obviously is not because it doesn't have an account. But if that's the case, all you have to do is say add. And what's going to happen after 30 days, 45 days, 2 months of you using it, the system will recognize 80% or more of the transactions, the rent, the phone. It will come up here and say, Books by Bessie. This is accounting. Oh, okay. And all you have to do is say add, bingo. It's all accounted for. Or you can say, you know what? I think I already put it in the system, because what's happening here, this is a transaction that happened probably because you paid outside you paid outside QuickBooks. And that could be because they have an electronic transfer, or because they have automatic ACH, every month, an automatic payment. So you have not accounted for it in QuickBooks. So if you haven't accounted for, this is where you would do it, right? You can find a match, as we're going to see down in other options, or you can record a transfer. This is not a transfer. A transfer is when you transfer from one account to another account. It could be from your checking to pay the credit card, but it's all within QuickBooks Online, within the chart of accounts that we already have. So here, what we're going to say is, oh, I know that Bessie, this is the monthly accounting fee. And we go here and say, okay, the account is, I'm sorry, here. The account is accounting or bookkeeping. Let's see what they have. Here it is, accounting. Or let me see if they have bookkeeping. See, I just put BOO, and there is bookkeeper. So that's what it is. We know Bessie is the bookkeeper. We already have a chart of accounts. All we have to do is choose the right account. We have the right vendor. We can have a memo, and we can put in here, this is the first monthly, next month it goes down to 40. Whatever comments you want. And the beauty of the system, QuickBooks Online, is that you can add an attachment. So you can say, okay, I want you to attach the actual bill. I mean, it goes to your computer and it comes up. You all you have to do is click and upload it, and it will stay within the system. So in a month, in a year, or 3 years, you want to see a specific invoice, you don't have to go through metal files or archives. You go to your system, identify the check, and all you have to do is click the attachment, and the bill is going to be right there. QuickBooks Online, you can drill down. So you can put tax. We're not going to talk about tax in this presentation. The memo, everything is fine. All you have to do is add, and voila, you've done the accounting. Okay, it's all done. So when you have downloads, they came from your checking account and they are uncategorized, you have to account for it. You have to put the right accounting. And this is where you do your researching. What is it? Who spent it? Any information, you put it right here. Okay. Now, let's say this is a rental. So we are renting equipment rental. Okay. And what this is doing is saying, okay, we got a here. This is what the electronic trail of the bank said: A1 rental, backhoe rental, etc. Here you go. You can put it in the memo: backhoe or job number 3 or number 4. So you put all the information you want, or none. I mean, it will be recorded anyways, right? And then you can then create a rule. What this will do is you are helping the artificial intelligence of QuickBooks Online by telling it, hey, listen, every time you get a charge from a rental, okay, it has to go to this account, and it will do it automatically without you having to do it. So you can say, create a rule. We can call the rule rentals from A1, etc., money out and where it's coming from, right? And then when you say every time you hit expense, equipment rental, you say save. That easy. So now it knows that every time it sees an A rental, it will go to that account, equipment rental. Here it is. This is the next one. We had, I believe, 2 of those. Here it is. It's telling you, I downloaded from A rental. This is the equipment rental according to your rule. Is this okay? In this case, all you have to do is say, yep, add, done, it's accounted for. Now, when you already, let's say, wrote a check, right? I mean, these rentals, you hadn't written a check, either they probably were ACH, automatic, outside QuickBooks. But if you wrote a check, you mailed it, and now it's coming, it's being cleared, and the transaction is coming down, downloaded, and it's being reported to you, that's when it comes down in this form. And instead of showing you the account or category being unclassified, in the case that's the first time, or if you already have a rule and it says rental or whatever, what it tells you is, listen, this came, this is the information that came from the bank. I was able to match it with a check number 75 for the same amount, 228.75. So I found the match. Is this correct? This is the information that is coming from the bank. This is what we have here. We say, yep, you found the matching record. This is correct. Fine, then match it. Again, add, match. Now you see all of these. These are suggestions. There may be a situation when you have a lot of similar checks for different employees or different vendors, $1,000 for 5 people during the month of February, it might mismatch it. That's why you have to be careful to really make sure that it's a good match, that it really is a match, PG&E. And you can see here, the information coming from the bank might be a little bit different than the information you have, but still it's a match, 114, etc. So all you have to do is say, yeah, it's a good one, it's matched. So you have accounted for it, that's it. Now, typically, once you get used to it, you'll say, instead of going match, 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 you may also say, yep, that's a deposit I made, that's correct, that's correct, that's correct, that one too. And then you do a bulk accept, and they're all gonna be posted, okay? So it's 100% of the transactions that have been cleared, and they have been cleared, you can see here, over the course, in this case, from December to January. So you've been sitting on the accounting for 2 months. Now you're coming, and you can do it once you know how to match, how to accept, how to classify, categorize. You can do it 7 to 10 minutes, and you're done with the accounting. Once you're done here, it's accounted, it's classified in the right place, etc. Most companies will have matches because most of the transactions will have been recorded. In other words, that would have been the way to write a check, send it. That would have been the way to create an invoice, send it, and get paid. So this is the way you would do it. Okay. Now here, what we have, for instance, is it's a Mahoney Mugs, right? 1808. It came down on January 23rd. There was no transaction. You open it. You say, yeah, no, I remember. This is, I don't know, advertising. There's nothing more than I want to include here. So that's it. Done. Same thing with every one of these. These are checks. Also, what you can do is you can click here, and what's going to happen is going to sort it by vendor, so that this way you have books by Bessie, you can do the accounting easier. You can say, okay, here's the 55, here is 75. I wrote a check here. I'm not really sure what's going on. What's happening here, as you can see, the difference is it doesn't say match. This was a match. So you wrote an expense. You had an expense already written and then paid it. Here, this is a transaction that came down. It's not the first one. You already knew about Bessie. So it goes back and says, last time you paid Bessie, it was bookkeeper. Is this right? Yep. Yep, it's right. So all you have to do is that. Or if it's not right, then what you do is you change it. And again, the only one that I have here without category, this is masonry. I don't know. Let me see. Whatever, building repairs. Now here, you can see what I was talking about. Normally you get the green and says, I found a match. Yep, it's right, do it. Here it says, look, I have found 2 matches for this transaction. So what you do is you click and you say, they will give you 2 choices, right? One is $75. That was an expense for Pam's sites. And the other one was $75 for books by Bessie. Now this one is Pam's sites. So this is the correct one. Had this been the incorrect one, all you have to do is choose it here, change it. Very easy. So you match it. Then what's going to happen, the other $75 is going to be here, but now it's 1. Before it showed us 2 because there were 275. Here we have 2, 1999, right? And this says clean. They're both for the same company, okay? And we have the 27 here, 27 here, we match it. So what's going to happen is we are now going to have 1 for 19, how much was it? I'm not sure where it went. I was expecting to have another one. Oh, but no, the other one already was accounted for because it knew exactly because of the rule we had before. So this is the way you now account for it. We can pretty much account for all of them except for Hicks Hardware, which doesn't have an account. We're going to, again, call it repairs. We're going to use it for repairs, building repairs. Okay. And then all we have is click all of them. Okay, they're all active. We say accept and we're done. And now the checking account, we have nothing pending. Everything has been accounted for. Now we have a savings account. We have 1 transaction. There was a deposit made of $200 on January 29. And we say, yeah, no, that's correct. And it's already matched. So during the original accounting for it, that's when we put the account, etc. So everything is fine. We clean it up. That's fine. Now, the MasterCard, here, you're going to do the same thing. This is your credit card. And this is coming down. You can see what was spent. Here, the $19 that we saw before, the other one had been paid directly. Here, we're paying directly through the credit card. So we do the same thing. Now, this is the way you download and account for it. This is a very powerful tool because it saves, in my estimate, 50 to 80% of the time of a bookkeeper. 80% of the transactions we face month in and month out are pretty much transactions that have memory, that have history. So most of the accounting is going to really be for you to supervise. That's what you're doing. Now, you can always see, for instance, what's pending here. For instance, there's nothing for you to review. This shows you all of the transactions that you have categorized ever since, right? So they're all here. They don't disappear. They've been accounted for. But if you wanted to make some changes, you can always undo and recategorize, sorry. Exclude it. In this case, they haven't had any, but if you exclude any transactions, they're going to be here. So you always have history. You can always go retrieve. You can always go and fix. This, for me, is, again, one of the most powerful functions of artificial intelligence within an accounting system. And it will also increase the accuracy, because most of the transactions are going to be exactly the same way. So you're going to be able to identify them. You're going to be able to account for them. This is part of the artificial intelligence. For those of you that don't want to connect directly, to the bank, I have some clients that say, no, I don't want the connection to be live. I want to connect whenever I'm supervising, whenever I do it. Or for those that are using the double security, the 2 steps that are now common everywhere, where not only do you put your password, but then they send you a code. That wouldn't work here. So what you can do instead is, instead of linking the account, you can upload from a file. And it's very, very simple. If you go to the major banks, you can go to download transactions. You put a period, a month, a year, and then it gives you choices. You want it downloaded in Excel, in comma delimited, or do you want it in QuickBooks Online? And you put QuickBooks Online, and a QuickBooks Online QBO file is downloaded. And what you do is you just say, okay, find it. You get the wherever it is, the file, you upload it, and then it will basically download the transactions just as if it was being done automatically. So you have that option as well. Okay, if anybody has any questions, what I'm going to do is let me go now to revenue, and then we're going to have a session for questions and answers. I want to keep it within an hour. The idea is that we don't want to necessarily teach you QuickBooks Online, but rather we want to make sure that you're aware of the power of QuickBooks Online, and then either go to the video library of QuickBooks Online, as I told you, or call me, set up an appointment for Fridays, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Remember, we reserve 15 minutes for all of you every Friday if you want to, totally free. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the revenue cycle, and in approximately 15 minutes, 20 minutes, go through how to set up invoices, collect invoices, how to record cash transactions within QuickBooks Online, okay? Remember that the logic that QuickBooks Online, the architects of QuickBooks Online have from the beginning was to follow workflows. So workflows, you have expense workflows, that involves expenses, that involves vendors, or you have the sales workflow that involves invoicing, customers, getting paid, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have all this payroll, reports, et cetera. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the sales cycle. One thing I want to remind you, you can get to where you need to be in QuickBooks Online always from anywhere in 3 or less clicks. It's very intuitive, and you can go anywhere from anywhere in many ways. There isn't just one way of getting to checks, how to write a check or how to make a deposit, etc. Remember, if a new check You go to this button that says new, you can have a new expense, check, bill, etc., or you can have a new invoice, payments, etc. All of the transactions can be done that way. That's one way to get there. Another way is through the cycle itself, through sales, either through invoices, customers, etc. Another one is to go to the section itself. So we are going to explore sales. The first thing is we are going to see how to set up invoices. Here we click invoices, and what we have is we have the sales section of QuickBooks Online. Here is where you can find all of the invoices by date, status, and from here you can have actions directed with invoices. Also here you can have it by customers. Sometimes it's easier to get to an invoice. I'm not sure when I send the invoice, I'm not sure what invoice I'm looking for, or I want to see what the status of an account. This is Amy's, and remember, QuickBooks Online has the ability to drill down. You click, you go to the next level. You click, you go to the next one, all the way down to the source document, be it a check, be it an invoice, be it a deposit. Here's our client, Amy's Bird. And now we went from the overall list of clients to the specific Amy's Bird, and it will give us the whole, the activity ever since the very first sale back in December 12th, right? And again, I'm clicking, so I go to the actual invoice. And here is the invoice, which is the source of the revenue. An invoice will have obviously the information of the customer. The invoice will, have terms, invoice date, due date. If you have no terms, that's okay. The date is important always. The due date, is when you expect to get paid. Could be the same day. It's not that critical whether it's right or wrong. Now, this is the way you set up an invoice with QuickBooks, and you do it both at the customer level. So you have an invoice, you say what customer, and at the product level. Okay, QuickBooks will integrate the product to the invoice, the customer to the invoice. So if I wanted to have, for instance, I'm going to change this invoice, right? I'm going to add another product. I cannot just come here and add, let's say, seeds, and then say, well, 180. Okay, I can do it this way if I don't have already a product. However, when I have a product already defined, be it a restaurant, I have my menu, I have it priced, a store, I already have my products, I have a price, then I can go directly to the product and or the service. This will give me a menu of all of the products, all of the services, and it can be as detailed as necessary. Okay, and I can have it, look it up or start typing, and it will be right there. Now, when I already have identified a specific product, and that's exactly what I sold, all I have to do is click on the product. It will identify description, and here is the quantity. It knows the rate, okay? And I can change this, make it 4 automatically. I could change the rate for this particular client in this particular invoice. So the invoice is very flexible. I can put in there something I didn't have before. The only problem, okay, is going to be that the products, when I define the products, the system now knows where the product goes in terms of an account, a category. When you put it right here, it doesn't. So let's say that I put save. And it's telling you, tracking the quantity and whole of inventory items, okay? So let's say it's telling me basically that you already had this invoice, you cannot do it. So we say, okay, how do we start a new invoice? If we're gonna do it for Amy, all we have to do is say new transaction, new invoice. It will give me all of her information, none of the product information. Now, if I put in here seeds, okay, and I'm going to save it. What this is telling me, okay, it's been saying, because I put seeds in here, it had to choose a product service, design services, which I did not do. Let's say that I put here toys, and I put save. Now we have it without design service. We have something that is not complete. That is why what we need to do is we have to make sure that we go to the product section in order to have the proper accounting. Again, we go to the sales, products and services. Now we're going to have here, and here is where we have all of the products. Here is where we put our menu, if you wish. You can edit. And as you can see here, every product has an income account. And this is important because then the invoice is going to be posted directly into the books. If you want to have, this is again artificial intelligence. It's a very nice attribute. Very few of my clients are able to keep track of it because you really have to have a good inventory system. And for many of them, this is not relevant. That's okay. It's there. You don't need it. If you need it, it's very useful. Now, let's say that we want a new product. Here is where we would design the new product, be it an inventory, service, or a bundle, a package. Let's say that it's a service, right? And we want to call it contribution, if you wish. No SKU, we don't keep that. Category could be charity. We don't have charity in our category, so all we have to do is add, save, description, monthly contributions. Okay, we can leave it open, and then every time we have an invoice, we put it in, or we put, it's always going to be $50. And let me see what income do we have. We can put it anywhere here. It says other income. It's not taxable. We don't, this is just access. It's a service. So we have it right there. So when we go and create a new invoice, we go to new, we go to invoice. Again, this is a blank template. So we can put Amy's. It will recognize Amy. It will tell me, by the way, this is another feature that we're not going to go into. We don't really have time, but you can have billable time. So you keep putting billable time. This tells me that we have worked 5 hours, $375 worth of custom design for Amy, and we have not billed it. Do you want to add it here? All you have to do is add. But if not, if this is a totally different product, let's say that this is the contribution that we just put into the menu. Monthly contributions, here it is. This is the way we had it. It is not taxed. And her contribution this time is going to be $75, not the normal 50. We changed it. Not a problem. Now here we have 3 options. We can just save and close it, leave it there. We can save and share link, and that is for, we can send the link to Amy and say, look, Amy, I'm sending you the invoice, please pay it. Or we can send the invoice to her. And in order to do that, we need to have her email here. Now, if the email is there, this is the invoice. I don't even have to print it and mail it. All I have to do is email it to her. Okay, and then I just sent it. And if I want to see and track the invoice, again, I can get to where I'm going from many places. I can go from sales to customers. I'm looking for Amy's. And I want to see the email, the invoice that I just, that we posted today, the $75, okay? And then I can see the status. Now, here, what I can do is I can say, she paid me, okay, so I received payment. Or I'm going to send it again, send a reminder, delete, void. Let's say that I'm opening the mail and I have a check from her and I'm about to deposit, right? So this is a payment that was received from Amy, and this is for the $75. She still owes me these other 2, but she paid the $75. So that's what she's paying. It is for $75. And it was a check. Reference 1708. And I can put in there, I'm not going to go to the bank right now, so it's going to undeposited funds, or I'm ready, I have the deposit ready, just going to the bank. And it's going into checking. Okay, so I say save and close. That's it. I got it. It's paid for. Here is the invoice. Here is the payment. And if I want to see, for instance, you know, how much does Amy owe me? Sorry. Very sensitive. What I do is I go to statement. I want to send, well, I want to see, well, I want to send the statement. And this is, I want to do it from the beginning of the year, from January 1. It says apply. Okay. I can print it here, view it. And here is the statement. She owes right now $254. And this is the activity, including the $75 that we wrote today and we got paid today. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. We went through the cycle, the revenue cycle. We went through artificial intelligence. David, I don't know if you have any questions, if you're still with us. Okay.
Still here.
Hi,
Hi.
David.
I guess my question is under the categories and the artificial intelligence. Computers can be annoying and put things in the wrong place. It's fairly easy to undo these things when you find, oh no, they've been putting these matches in the wrong spot.
Very, very easy. Very easy. W- One, if you wish, one of the weaknesses from an auditor standpoint of QuickBooks Online, it's how easy it is to fix things, to change things. Accountant auditors like to have a trail. Okay, somebody made a mistake. How was it fixed? When was it fixed? Who had authority? QuickBooks says, I'm more interested in facilitating the bookkeeping for the customer. So the answer to you is, it's one of the greatest strengths of QuickBooks. And that's why I tell my clients, go ahead. What I do is I tell my clients, go ahead. If you don't know, ask my accountant. If you made a mistake, don't worry, we'll find it. And it's very easy to check. For instance, computers made a mistake, or you made a mistake originally and you thought it should be in one account. And then your accountant comes and says, no, 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 it should go to another account. Very easy to change, basically with one click. So what I say is, don't worry, go ahead, make mistakes. That's the only way we know you're making progress.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Well, thank you very much. And I want to remind all of you that are watching now or are going to watch later when we post it both on the Chamber's website as well as my website, nosnik.com, that you're more than welcome to let us know if you have any questions every Friday, 15 minutes. Just send me a quick email, say, I would like to speak with you next Friday at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We'll set it up. It's via Zoom. And that way we can get the implementation faster and more efficient. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alice. And in 2 weeks, a week from next Thursday, 2 weeks, we will be reviewing another key control feature within QuickBooks that, again, artificial intelligence makes it so simple, and that is reconciliation of bank, all the financial accounts. So stay tuned, and we'll see you then.
Thank you, David. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.